Are Blizzard showing us some Overwatch 2 this very moment in the Overwatch Archives? Hey and welcome, I'm Hammeh, and today we're going to take a quick look at what I think might be the first signs of an Overwatch 2 style gameplay mechanic, but it's being tested right now. As of Overwatch Archives this year, the newly introduced challenge missions with their modifiers, I feel, are a little hint of Overwatch 2 to come. In this video, I'm going to talk about what modifiers are, where Blizzard have done them before and the influence on them, what they're like in World of Warcraft and what they actually do, and how they might work in Overwatch 2, as well as what questions these might answer and what questions they may not about any potential Overwatch 2 co-op game, its endgame and its replayability. Now, time code's in the description below if you want to skip. So, what's the big Blizzard experiment? Well, this year we have Overwatch Archives, and slightly quietly snuck into there was the addition of challenge missions with their modifiers. These modifiers, such as Molten Floor, such as Glass Cannon and more, are little twists on how we play Overwatch, and the PvE missions, the co-op missions, Retribution, Uprising, Storm Rising, than we would normally do. By only critical shots doing damage, enemies leaving pools of lava on the floor when dead, by ensuring that there are no healers or tanks and you can only heal yourself by doing damage, Blizzard are giving us little options, little changes to make these events feel more fresh, making them a little bit difficult, making them a bit interesting, maybe forcing you to use different heroes. So a lot of the footage here, you'll see me trying all of these for the first time with all of my bad hero picks and failures. Now, I think it's important to say that modifiers are not new to Blizzard. Blizzard have been doing them before, and indeed are doing them before right now as a way of making games feel fresh, flavourful, and indeed different week to week with some replayability. Now, where is this happening? World of Warcraft. So where's the influence? Well, Blizzard as a company, many of the Overwatch team worked on World of Warcraft. Jeff Kaplan himself worked on quests. He's known for the Green Hills of Stranglethorn, a very long and arduous quest in World of Warcraft Classic, the original WoW. Now, as well as making me feel old, because I was playing at World of Warcraft Classic EU launch 15 years or so ago, other members of the Overwatch team too have worked on WoW. Indeed, here's a video of them reminiscing about WoW Classic. So it's really no surprise that with several of the Overwatch team having worked on World of Warcraft, we see a WoW-esque mechanic in Overwatch Archives. So what are modifiers like in WoW, and what do they do? What's their purpose? I feel this context is important for potential Overwatch 2 replayability and endgame and progression, things that are very important and that people would like in a co-op game where Blizzard have kind of said that they want us to be able to replay it and enjoy it for a long time. If you're a World of Warcraft player, Mythic Plus dungeons need no introduction. I'm going to quickly summarise it here for those who aren't familiar with Warcraft dungeons. So Mythic Plus is a system of dungeon or level replayability. There are dungeons in World of Warcraft you can join with people up to a group of 5 in and play them through on various baseline difficulties, all the way from your first level through to max level of 120. And when your character's max level and you're looking to get gear and power them up, you have normal, heroic and mythic difficulties of dungeon. Each of these have tougher mobs in them, tougher bosses, more health, they do more damage, and they have higher levels of loot they drop. Now, on top of all of this, there's a system called Mythic Plus. Mythic Plus is effectively the same dungeons, but with a time trial element. You're doing it against the clock with a scaling difficulty. Kill all of the bosses and a certain amount of mobs in the dungeon, and that's your completion. Now, keys scale from 2 upwards, and the greater number of the key that you have, the more health that the mobs, the NPCs in the dungeon have, the more damage that they do to you, but you also, of course, get better loot, and also, depending on how quickly you do the key, you can level up your key and have a higher level of key to try in future. Now, on top of all that are something that Warcraft, or World of Warcraft, calls affixes. Depending on the degree of difficulty you are playing at, more of these affixes are added the higher level of key that you run. So a basic affix for a level 2 key could, for example, be tyrannical. Bosses hit harder and have more hit points. Or fortified. The trash, the mobs, the NPCs, not the bosses, they hit harder and have more hit points. Now at levels 4, at level 7, you get new affixes. These could be things such as raging. Mobs, NPCs that have less than 30% HP suddenly do more damage for a while until you kill them. And indeed, the WoW footage you're watching is me doing a level 11 dungeon with several different affixes. Now at level 10, you get a seasonal affix. I'll talk about seasons in a sec. that the seasonal fix here is awakened. You can see us going through these pillars to the realm of an old god, N'Zoth, the theme and indeed raid and big bad of this patch. We kill his minions and we use these pillars to be able to skip bits of the dungeon by walking through this old god's realm. So at level 2 you'll be doing 1 affix, at level 10 you'll be doing 4 different affixes, and then you can do higher numbered keys that will have more health, more damage being done to you and for you to deal with. Seasons, again, I'll quickly cover these. I think this is another thing that could come to Overwatch 2. It's a way that Blizzard resets the scoreboard every so often, and of course we have this in Overwatch Competitive for seasons right now. This happens in WoW, Diablo 2. Theme seasons with titles, rewards, the Overwatch events, for example, such as Competitive, will have selected sprays and achievements that you can achieve. WoW is similar, Diablo is similar, keeping things fresh, interested, new things to do, and new challenges and ways to play the game. So, Hammeh, how could this apply to Overwatch 2, I hear you say? Well, for those of you listening along, you're thinking, hey, these Mythic Plus affixes in WoW sound mighty like modifiers in Overwatch's Archives event. That's point 1. Now, alongside Rio that we've seen in trailers, I got to play at BlizzCon, and I'm showing you footage of here, we have a bunch, not sure how many exactly more playable levels in Overwatch 2. Now, for the sake of argument, let's say it's at least 6. In the Overwatch 2 gameplay trailer, we saw Rio, but we also saw Route 66, Toronto, Paris, Ilios, and Busan. Now, we've seen Overwatch 2 gameplay in action, and what I played at BlizzCon, honestly, I found very, very fun. However, how the end game works beyond the talent trees that we've seen, how the replayability works, we've yet to discover. I very much feel that these affixes, these modifiers, as Overwatch call them, will be a part of that, and they are being tested out by Blizzard to see our response in Archives right now. So if we assume these minimum of 6 levels, and who knows, maybe there'll be more to be announced in the future, of course we don't know how much Overwatch 2 is going to cost, and similar, then Blizzard have said that they want it to be replayable and engaging co-op. Overwatch 2, I think, is going to be 2021 at the earliest as speculation. This is because at BlizzCon 2019, Blizzard in panels said that they would be talking about Overwatch 2 this BlizzCon in 2020 in a similar way to the way in which they were last year in 2019, which means pretty much no 2020 release for Overwatch 2. I really don't think it's going to happen. I'm 99.9% sure of that. And although I'd love to be proven wrong, I get why people are hoping for it this year. I really think it's more likely to be early 2021 at the earliest. And with that in mind, there's a lot that we will still see for Overwatch 2. I think that this modifiers system, this Mythic Plus World of Warcraft-esque system that we see is part of Blizzard's plan for how we'll enjoy and keep playing Overwatch 2 in the future. Now, there will be some of you out there who say, Hammeh, this sounds boring. I don't want to be replaying the same levels over and over again. Well, depending on what the affixes are like and depending on what the rewards are, and I'm going to come on to my final point of what questions remain from this can actually be really, really fun. For starters, if you're enjoying these modifiers in Archives, you would probably enjoy, I think, this in Overwatch 2, but there's a question as to what rewards come from all of this gameplay. What these modifiers are, these affixes in World of Warcraft are ways to vary the replayability of a set of content of, let's say, for example, the Overwatch 2 levels, so that the challenges change, that you have something different each week, and so that there are weeks where you might want to try different things. In Overwatch, for example, with the modifiers, I jumped into a game not knowing that I could only shoot enemies really, really close up with one of the modifiers, and I picked McCree. The reason I picked McCree was because I just played a game where I was using the critical damage modifier. You could only do damage by headshotting people. I chose Soldier, and my tactical visor was useless. These mechanics, these modifiers, these affixes force you to try different heroes, do different things week to week, and who knows how often these might rotate. It's kind of like the concept of hero pools rotating weekly, and Blizzard trying that with Overwatch Competitive right now. In World of Warcraft, affixes also rotate week to week, and there's a schedule and a pattern around which they rotate. World of Warcraft has 11 dungeons, and I played WoW on and off for 15 years. Me and my friends, my guildies, many of whom I've known for 15 years or longer, we do Mythic Plus pretty much on a weekly basis, 1 or 2 of them, so that we can get some rewards, we can get some loot, and we enjoy the challenge and seeing the mix of different things as well. So this system can be replayable, can be fun. However, questions do remain, and of course, these questions I'm sure will be answered in the run-up to Overwatch 2. Why are we replaying? These are how these levels, the content is made replayable, but what is our motivation? Well, we're going to be leveling up in Overwatch 2, getting access to different talents, abilities, the talent tree that we've seen and that I played with at BlizzCon, different team compositions, trying different heroes, being forced or choosing to mix up what you're playing to try and defeat these challenges in different ways is certainly another. And the last is perhaps loot and other ways of upgrading your character and other sort of rewards. Would we be getting kinds of loot in Overwatch that would upgrade our characters, or is it mainly the talent system that will let us play our characters in different ways? We've of course seen in the Overwatch 2 gameplay footage, and I played using the different items, usable items during Overwatch levels that you could drop. Could these somehow be upgraded depending on how well or how quickly you complete levels with what different modifiers in Overwatch 2, for example? And last but not least, cosmetics, of course. Maybe there'll be a battle pass, maybe there won't. Maybe there'll be just seasonal rewards. In World of Warcraft, you can get titles that your character can wear as you walk around. You can get unique mounts that you can only get if you play and complete the challenges in that season that you can then fly and ride around the world on. So very exclusive, very cool looking cosmetic rewards, for example. Maybe there could be crossover skins from playing Overwatch 2 co-op that then you can also use in your Overwatch standard game, as it were, the competitive, the quick play, and so on and so forth. So if we were going back to times when flashing a bit of ankle was a little bit controversial, then I think Blizzard, with these modifiers in Overwatch Archives, are certainly flashing a little bit of Overwatch 2 ankle to us and seeing how we react to it. What do you think? Are you enjoying these modifiers in Archives? Have you been playing the missions a lot more because of them? Do you play World of Warcraft and know this? And what do you think of the Mythic Plus system? If you don't play World of Warcraft, what do you think of the WoW-like elements of this system now that I've made the comparison? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment below with what you think, how you're enjoying Archives, what you think of Echo. Do check out all of my Echo coverage, including an exclusive interview with Jeff Kaplan and Jeff Goodman, all in the playlists below, as well as my Overwatch lore interaction and voice lines from the last 5 years of Overwatch and beyond. Thanks to my patrons on Patreon who make many of my videos possible. If you'd like to see how you can support the channel from just $1, a coin to your Witcher, or similar a month, check out patreon.com/Hammeh. It's being revamped and a lot going on there over to the end of this month and beyond. I am piloting some new kinds of content here, and there's cool stuff to come, so I'd love to hear your thoughts, be it in the comments or otherwise. Cheers for tuning in. I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.